Riding WA is sponsored by Triumph Motorcycles Australia.
Welcome to another episode of Riding WA. And yes folks, we're at round 4 of the State Motocross Championship and this is about the driest weather we've seen all day. Had a great chat to some of the riders so far and you know what, a bike's just fallen over right over there. That's how bad it is. It's atrocious.
No one was riding it at the time.
No one was riding it at the time, but there's been plenty of spills on the track behind us as well. Now, I've got a new person to my right. Keith, would you like to introduce her?
I could do.
Do the honours.
Nikki, how you do? Welcome to Riding WA.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here.
Now you're going to be covering most of our motocross events, I
Yes,
believe,
yes.
which will be something that I really look forward to, because that means I don't have to get soaking wet and covered in mud every weekend. So it'll be really good. It'll be your turn to get covered in all that sort of crap.
Well, I see that you're not very appropriately attired today, Keith. You've even
No.
got the mud splattered on you.
No, I actually,
Welcome to motocross.
I actually arrived here in a leather jacket, believe it or not, but I did take the leather jacket off, which I'm really glad. But I got absolutely covered at one. But we got a great shot though. I got a great shot. You've got to admit it was a good shot.
Yeah, I got a great shot of you covered in mud as well.
Oh,
It's fantastic.
But so you're going to be covering all the motocross for us, which is good.
Yep.
And where are you going from here? We got this event and then we move on.
Next weekend we're going up to King of the Cross up at Southern Cross. Hopefully the weather holds out, and haven't been there before for a motocross event. Passed through there many times on the way to and from Kalgoorlie, but it should be good. Promises up to $40,000 in prize money. There'll be various classes racing, so hope to bring you some footage come next week.
For that sort of prize money, I might even give it a shot. And I don't even have a motocross bike at the moment, but
Push
sounds
bikes
good.
don't count.
Push bikes don't count. Maybe a tow rope attached to someone. That might get me around the track at least.
It might do. So we've got more racing here today yet to
Yes,
come,
we have. Yep. We've got
which will obviously start when it starts raining again, because it
Probably,
seems
yes.
that they have a break. Every time the sun comes out, they have a break. Then when it rains, they start racing, which is really intelligent.
I must admit that the track is probably the worst motocross track I've seen as far as slush and mud, and there's just caked on mud and grime and you name it, it's on everyone's bike. So
No, it's the girls are racing
the
today
girls
as well.
are racing.
So we're going
is
to have a
the
chat with a couple of the girls.
Yes, it is the state championship for girls. So the top girl riders in the state here trying out their luck with the boys. So yeah.
Trying out their luck with the what?
Well, not in that
Oh,
regard.
I thought it was
Their
racing. they were here
racing
for.
expertise.
What do you think I came down here for today?
Well, it is the girls.
Women, obviously.
You're not racing.
Oh, so I'm not in with a chance. Fair enough.
With me today is Michael Addison, current number 1 champion in the state. Michael, welcome along.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Pleasure. Now, today is going to be probably one of the worst motocross conditions I have been to as a spectator. How does it rate as far as you go?
Yeah, definitely. It's probably the worst track I've ever ridden on mud anyway. We sort of tried to get it cancelled at the start of the day, but apparently they have to run 2 rounds. So, yeah, we're out there doing what we can.
Now, you were with the group down at round 3, which was down at Jindong.
Yep.
How did you fare after that championship round?
Not too bad. The first one I had a couple of crashes and managed to get second, and then the second one I won. And they called it off after the second race due to wet conditions again.
Yep. Now, Michael is the current state champion as well. He's wearing the number 1 plate. How has that helped your career so far this year?
It's definitely helped my career. Obviously, I'm based here in WA, and I need to establish myself on a state level before moving over east and competing at a national level. So, winning the state round last year was definitely good for me and for KTM, and they promoted me by putting me on the factory team to compete in all the nationals this year.
Do you have aspirations perhaps of going over to America or the European field if you can work your way up and sort of hold onto a really good position in the state, not just the state championship, but also in the national scene?
Yeah, definitely. This year I think is a bit of a learning year for me in the nationals. I'm riding the open class for the first time for a factory team as well. So next year I'm planning to, I guess, be in the hunt for a national championship, and then I'll just keep going as hard as I can for as long as I can, and hopefully injury doesn't hold me back, and I'd definitely like to get to America at some stage.
Here with Dean Porter, local star, currently running second in the state championship. Dean, welcome along to Riding WA.
Hey, cheers. It's good to be on here.
Now you, like all the other competitors, were down at Jindong probably early this month. How do you find the conditions here today as compared to there at Jindong, which is down at Busselton?
Jindong was a lot better than here. They didn't rip the track, so it was still hard pack underneath, even though it had a lot of water on it. This track, they ripped it a lot, and it was going to be awesome. If it had been dry, the track would have been awesome, nice and ruddy, but unfortunately the rains came and made it a mess, absolute mess.
How are your championship results going as a result of you pulled out of the first moto today? What actually happened?
I got a good start. I was in second behind Addo for a bit, and then I just had a pretty good crash down the straight here. And I kept going, and I just ended up frying a clutch, and my bike wouldn't go, so had to pull out. It's a bit spewing because it's in the mud conditions. It's sometimes a good chance to make up points. So, but it went the other way for me today. But
is there any chance that we can get the bike back going today?
Yeah, I'll get a new clutch in it, or I'll ride my other bike, my practice bike, and get out there in the second moto and just try and stay on, I guess. We've got a big meeting next weekend with the Nationals, so me and Addo sort of want to stay safe at the moment. But
how are you going as far as the national scene goes this year?
The one at Wanneroo really helped me heaps in the points. Yeah, so I'm back up to 10th now, and I'm only 3 or 4 points off 9th. So yeah, we've got one more round to go, which is in Queensland, Coolum next weekend, and if I can get a couple of good races, I can get up to 9th maybe, so that'll be good, top 10.
Out in the middle of the track down here at Byford. Veterans are just about to start. Just give you maybe if Keith can pan in and give you a close-up of this quagmire that these guys are ripping around. Some of the average speeds, if you have a look at the score sheets, are around 60 miles an hour. So if you can do 60 miles an hour in that, you are doing way better than me, because some of it, if you walk around the track, some of it is actually up to your knees.
We're here in the pits with Tracy Burns, who's currently leading the Women's State Motocross Championship. So a good day so far today.
Yeah, so far so good. One more race to go at the moment, so yeah, see how we go with that.
Excellent. Now, what have you got here? What's your bike?
It's a Kawasaki 250F.
Yep. And I noticed it's got a whole lot of stickers on it. Who are some of the sponsors?
Down South Motorcycles, my major sponsor.
Excellent, excellent.
Yep.
How long have you been riding for?
For about 8 years.
Okay.
Yep.
And competing in the motocross for that long as well?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
fantastic, great,
Yep.
great. What made you want to get involved?
Just learned how to ride when I was about 16, but didn't ride again, sort of, and then all of a sudden we seen this thing on Australian Nationals for women, and I was like, oh wow, I want to be involved in that. So yeah, and it just went from there.
So you've done some national rounds?
Yes, over in the Eastern States.
Yep. How'd you go there?
Not very good. Top 10, but yeah.
Top 10, that's pretty respectable.
Yeah, that was a lot of years ago. A few years ago now. We've got a bit better since then.
Great, no worries at all. How many women currently ride motocross?
In this state, well, we had about 9 on the grid this morning, but because of the conditions, the numbers have diminished.
Yep.
So 9 is a good turnout for us, but it's good to see as many girls as possible out there. We always try, all the girls try and encourage more girls to come and get involved, because today is not a very good example, but it is such a good sport to be involved in. It's a lot of fun. You get to travel around and meet people, and it's great. Yeah.
Fantastic. What would you say to some women who are thinking of giving motocross a shot?
Yep.
How would they go about getting involved?
Just get a bike. If you've got a bike, just go out to a track, a local club day, and your local track, and just give it a go, and see how you go. It doesn't matter where you come, if you're having fun, then that's the main thing. Yeah.
Right. Well, best of luck with the rest of the day, Tracy.
Thanks so much.
Thanks very much for talking to Riding WA.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of footage from Byford. That was a really wet day.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, watching me get covered in mud.
Yeah, watching you get covered in mud, and poor Nikki sort of disappear up to her knees in
Well,
mud.
Jersey, the cameraman, said that he wished he had another camera, because you were actually, I'm big enough, you were standing behind me so that you wouldn't get covered in mud.
I'm thinking, up here for thinking, Keith.
Brilliant. Great stuff. We sent Nikki off actually to Southern Cross. She's gone up to Southern Cross.
Excellent.
Last week, so we should have some good footage of Southern Cross next weneek.
Huge event by all reports.
Was it?
Biggest prize money of any motocross event in WA, which drags everybody out of the woodwork. And needless to say, there was a lot of excited faces I saw leaving Perth in the week before, and on the Saturday for the run up to Southern Cross. So it should have been a good time.
Excellent. Well, next we're heading off to meet up with the Ulysses Club. Brian last year caught up with them at a cafe in Vic Park and had a chat with the Ulysses members.
So how long have you been in Ulysses?
4 years.
4 years? What?
4 years.
4 years? 4 years? What made you join?
Well, it's the old getting old thing, and your kids have grown up, so you're allowed to get a motorcycle again after having to get rid of it for the family with all the family pressure. And then I looked around to find out who was riding together, to find a community of people who can help you with your bike and help you fix your bike and stuff like that. I found a few clubs, and Ulysses just was it for me.
Kurt, you've been in Ulysses, I believe, for some time. Why did you join?
I joined 7 years ago. I joined because I was looking for companionship and people that I could ride with. People who understood the way I thought, who travelled around Australia, had friends everywhere. Now that the bullshit's over, I joined because I just like the bunch.
Do you find yourself at a disadvantage being a female rider in Ulysses?
As far as being disadvantaged, I don't find any. I think it's a great advantage because you can sort of rely on the guys to help you when you have little emergencies and things. And my longest ride, that was from Denmark to Perth in one day, and it was 45 degrees, so we left at 7 and got to here about 2, and I went faster than I normally do to beat the heat. And I was exhausted when I got here.
I've been riding since I was very young. Getting past my parents was the biggest disadvantage. There has been a certain amount of, shall we say, I think that probably women my age were trail breakers because we copped quite a lot of hostility coming up. Now women can ride and they are accepted as part of the bunch. That's nice. I think it's probably an age thing. I think it's probably a generational thing, and I think that we've come through it. So no, I don't find any disadvantage now. In the past, perhaps.
Chris, you're from Warnbro. Can you tell me something about the Warnbro branch?
Yeah, we've got about 120 members down there, very social. We go out for Friday night dinners and also Friday night rides. Have a ride every Sunday, weekends away. We have a tune-up day once a month where they all come to our place and pull their bikes apart, change the oil, things like that. Yeah, so yeah, it's like I said, a very social branch. We're out all the time.
Here we are at the Northam Motorcycle Festival. We've come along to promote the Starlight Children's Foundation here today. It's great fun. Today the weather is absolutely superb. Yesterday was a little bit, how can we say, inclement. The fact that it was down with rain most of the day made it quite interesting for a motorcycle event. But here we are today at Northam and it's fantastic. The weather's beautiful. We're having a great time.
Yep, and as you can see by the amount of bikes in the car park, there was a lot of other people having a great time as well. The motorcycle show there is right on the edge of the Avon River, and so it made for some very spectacular views. One of the highlights of the Motorcycle Festival is the parade of motorcycles taking part in the festival. Leading the motorcycles around was stunt rider Matt Mingay, and with him was Cam Ambridge. Here's Matt Mingay on the yellow machine coming down here. Yeah, that surprised his passenger a little bit. Now, at the risk of being boring, please don't try that at home, will you? We don't want people slammed into the pavement. Matt Mingay's been doing that for many, many years as a very experienced stunt rider. In fact, one of the country's top stunt riders. We'll see more from Matt and Cam a little bit later on, in fact in Northam Part 2. This was definitely one of the attractions at the Northam Motorcycle Festival. It was the Vintage Motocross Club of Western Australia, and they had some great bikes on display. And I've got to tell you, I remember riding a couple of those style bikes back in the UK, way back in the 60s and 70s. They were good fun. But these boys certainly didn't hang about. It was a very, very small circuit, but they made the most of it, and they put on a great show for all the public. The crowd increased through the day, and we had quite a few people on our stand and quite a few people looking at some of the most amazing motorcycles you've ever seen. There certainly was some big beasts at the show. We had quite a good stand, and as you can see, the telescope there. One day we'll explain what we do with those telescopes. We will be visiting this company in a later episode of Riding WA, so keep watching, and we'll see some of their amazing customised jobs on motorcycles. Quite a few people admiring both the stunt bikes and of course the show and shine. That was a big attraction. Some of these bikes were absolutely beautifully kept, including this old Harley Davidson. Yes, and that little thing there, someone actually rode all the way to Northam. And he was about 6 foot. This was one of the winners. The young lady brought this bike in and won one of the prizes. And so was this one. In fact, the overall winner.
You haven't asked me about the jacket. Cool, isn't it?
I
Do you like
didn't
the
want to
jacket?
bring that up. That is a very spectacular looking jacket.
It's really good. It's to go with my new cruiser when it arrives.
Oh, you are getting a new cruiser?
Well, apparently.
Apparently. Apparently.
Yeah. So anybody from Triumph, if you're listening to this, where is my cruiser? It hasn't arrived yet.
Yes. Yeah. Apparently, a boat from America. Is that right?
Yeah, boat from America. I need a new house as well.
All right. Okay.
We'll see you next week. What else do you need?
I'm all set.
Yeah, kids tomorrow.
No, I'm right.
Morning. Good stuff, eh? It's what happens when you don't wear the right stuff.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Apparently I'm gay. It's recording, isn't it? No, I'm not. You see, in one weekend I've been accused of being engaged and now gay. I'm off to a great start this weekend. Yeah, apparently I got engaged Friday night.
What was his name?
I was. Oh!